Okay, I think now the recording is on. What we are going to see today is, I know like yesterday, few folks asked about cross database queries in Azure SQL DB. Okay, that is something which we'll see. And once that is done, we will talk about Entra ID. Okay, within Entra ID, we'll see users, groups, uh, I mean, the roles, whatever you assign, and service principal. Okay. Is anyone saying something? Okay, I guess no. Fine. We'll cover these things, and once these things are done, we'll also see Entra ID or for Azure SQL DB. Okay, this is the plan. To start, okay, I already have a Azure SQL created, SQL Server created. So we'll be using this demo RG, okay. And let me see if I have it created here. No, okay, maybe I created it in a wrong resource group. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is where my servers. That's fine. What I can do is I can search for Azure SQL database. This will take me here, but we wanted the logical server which is available here. Okay, this is the server which I just created when you just joined just few minutes back. And wait, let's see. Databases, we don't have any database. Right. Okay, we have the server name here. Let me connect to that server from Management Studio. Okay, so it says deny public network access. Okay, anyone wants to tell like how I can get rid of this? So this is a SQL server.
To the
What I
network
should do?
settings.
Okay, I'll go to the settings and networking. Okay.
It is disabled, right? Public.
Okay, I'll enable it. Now it will work. Yes, no, maybe.
It will work. I think we need to enter the DNS entry. I think so.
Yeah, actually, I have to allow the
Yeah.
connection from my IP. Firewall has
Okay.
to be enabled. I'll just do that as well.
You
So
just
what I will do is, sorry, I'm just going to allow it to the internet. Okay, so that is going to work. Okay, it is still getting applied. Okay, that's fine. Wait. Maybe I'll just give the entire range. Now I'll just go here. What? Yesterday login failed. Okay, let me type the password again. This is updated, right? This is reaching. Okay, what we will do is let's go here. Reset password. I don't know if I gave something wrong. Let's do this. Password must match. Okay, I'm just typing the same stuff. Let's see. Okay, it's not matching. Okay, I'll save. done. Let's go here. Okay. Okay. My bad. So actually, I should give this server name, right? I was hitting a wrong server. It was a failover group which we created yesterday. Okay, but still it says this. Let's see. Okay, instead of spending more time, I don't like what is the problem. But what I will do is let's quickly create a new one because we want to cover a lot of things, right? So we'll not spend time in troubleshooting that. Maybe at the end we'll see. Okay, I'll say India, the central India, and it is demo RG. We'll go with SQL authentication, and we gave the password which I wanted to. Okay, let's go and create it. I thought I'll just have this created upfront so that we'll just save some time, but I think that had other problems which I don't want to troubleshoot basically now. Let's wait for like a minute. This should get created. And once that is done, okay, maybe while that is going on, what I will do is I'll just open a paint. Let's do like this. Okay. So here you have, let's say this is your SQL server, whatever we just created. Maybe if I have to take the name, I don't have it. But anyways, let's say this is your SQL server, and I can have multiple database within Azure. This is a logical SQL server, okay, which we create for Azure, okay. And within that, I can have more than one database. One database is in the same server, okay. Though this is like a separate one, and this is a separate one, but I can have more than one database, right? But what I told is you cannot have a cross query, like which means you cannot have a query which is referencing this DB2. I cannot run a query from DB1 which has a reference to DB2. For example, in case of on-prem and all, let's say if your database query context is in DB1, right? But you can still write select star from db2.dbo.table name. So this kind of query works in SQL Server host on VM or MI also, but here you don't have that functionality. All these are like individual databases. So we are going to see like how you can query that. Okay, that is what we are going to see. I'll quickly enable the networking part, and then I'll explain like how we are going to do it. I'll just say allow all 0.0.0 55.255.255. See, this is done. I'll just copy this, go to Management Studio. Okay, this works. That's good. Okay, first we are going to create a database. Okay, I'll just name it DB1. I'll just say edition as basic. I'm not going to do with portal just to save some time. We'll create two databases. Okay. While that is getting created, I think this should happen quick, but we'll see. So this is the setup. Okay, that is what we have here. Now, for this to work, right? There is a concept called polybase. If you are from DBA, like anyone knows like what is polybase? There is a feature in SQL Server called polybase.
It will connect from, it will get a connection of other databases also, like Oracle. Oracle or any MySQL.
Okay. I mean, linked server also can do similar things, right?
That's correct. But the Polybase, it seems some kind of advanced thing.
Okay. Fine. Any other different opinion or different answers from anyone? Okay, yeah, actually that is right. Okay, link server, you have a limited scope. Okay, but with Polybase, I think you have even more wider scope. And yeah, as you said, it can talk to different databases and all. But link server works in a different way. But for Polybase to work, it works in a different way where you will have to set up few other things on the SQL side, okay, which we will see. For example, okay, I'll just go with the new one, okay. We'll just keep it simple, okay. I'll just name it as, we'll talk from the database context only. I'll have DB1 here, and I'll have DB2, okay. Let's say I have a table called dev table, and I wanted to access it from this DB1. Okay, like think this is on a Azure SQL DB. Okay, maybe I'll just write Azure SQL DB. Okay, now what you can do is directly you cannot query. That is something you know. This is not going to work. But what you can do is using this Polybase functionality. Okay, you will create something called credential. Okay, a database scope credential. Okay, this is the first thing you will create. Then you will create something called what is your data source. Okay, in credentials, you will basically define what is going to be your identity using which you're going to talk to a different service. In this case, it is Azure SQL DB, but you can talk to MongoDB, Oracle, or even to your blob containers also. Okay, there are different ways using which you can call, but for this demo, I'm just keeping Azure SQL DB. You'll create this data source. Okay, once this is done, you will create something called external table. Okay, in your external table, then you will be defining your credential and the data source. Okay, and using those two, you will be saying, okay, to which database you're going to talk. Basically, your credential will be mapped here. Okay, and then you will be referencing it in the external table. But this external table is going to act as a view. Okay, it will not hold your actual data, but you'll just have a view sort of thing created. And from here, when you query, right, it will go to this DB, fetch the data, and it will just show. So like the way how link server works, but here you will create something called external table, and you will have these two things configured. Okay, that is what we will do. Let's see this in action. These two databases are created, right? Now what I'm going to do is on DB2, let's create a basic table. Okay, dev, what I use dev table, right? I'll just name dev table. I'll just keep ID int name here 10, and let's execute it. So this is created on DB2. Okay. Now, if I open a different query, let's say if I do something like this, DB1, DB2.dbo dot underscore dev table, this is not going to work because reference to and or server in DBO is not supported, which means you cannot do it. But we'll see how we can get it. I told you we have to create a few things, right? The first one is create database scoped credential. Okay, I gave the name correct. I'll just be to head and identity. Okay, so here you have to define using what name you're going to connect. I'll just say my name. Or what we can do is I'll create a new user. I'll say create user DB to user with password strong password @1. Okay. Now what I can do is I'll just grant. We'll go with the DB owner permission only. Okay. Let's wait. I'll just say grant DB owner, though it is more, but that's okay. So this is the username which we just created. Okay. What I will do, I'll go here. I'll use this credential. Okay. And let me copy this password. I'll say secret is equal to this. Okay. There should be a comma. Okay. Let's run. Okay. It says you need a master key in the database to open before doing this. So if you are from the SQL background, okay, if you are enabling any sort of these kind of credentials or other things, you need another layer of encryption to encrypt these things. Okay, so that's why it says you need a master key. So what I'll do is create master key. Let's run this. This is on DB1, whatever we are doing. Okay, now let's go and create this. This is done. Okay, so the flow is going to be first the master key, then this one. Once this is done, we have to create external data source. Maybe let me external data source in Azure SQL DB. I'll just say Polybase because I just want to take the command alone. Okay, this is what we want. I'll just close this. So I told you can also talk to your container and all. Like this is the example for that, but we don't want this. What I will do is I'll just say db2 and location is going to be our server name, which I will take it from here. So there are naming formats and all which to a container and all different format, which you can check it from the documentation, but that's what it is. So we are doing, and what I want to give is the credential which we created, right? I'll say use this credential to talk to this location or this server, and what other things I will define is you can give type. Okay, go to the documentation. Let's see this. Let's go here. There should be type. Okay, yeah. Here type they have used blob storage. Similarly, you can type RD RDBMS. Okay, it's not there, but I know you can give. Okay, RDBMS. Then you can also define the database name. Okay, I'll just say database is going to be DB2. Okay, this is the external database. Okay, maybe I have to put this in a code. This is still erroring out. See, okay, let's go here. Database. Okay, I think it should be database name, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. I don't know, for some reason it's not reflect here, but that's okay. So this is the data source. Okay. We have defined the credential, and using the credential we have mapped and we have created external data. Then what I can do is we have to create the external table. Okay. Now we already have, okay, I don't know if I have already created a table. I think yes. Let's see what we had. Okay, we have a table created, right? Now what I have to do is I have to create an external table. Okay, I'll say create external table, and I'll just say db1 dev table. Okay, just to differentiate it, and I'll just give the same structure. I'll just say name here 10. Now I have to define parameters. With probably that will be inside this. I'll just say with there's a bunch of things which we have to define. I'll say external table. Okay, let's take this. Again, like no point in remembering the command, so that's why you can always refer the documentation. Okay. Okay. Now, so we have to define all these things, right? We don't need location for our use case. Okay, we'll give the data source. Data source is going to be, in this case, to source. Let's that. Once data source is defined, I can say what is going to be the schema. Okay, I'll say schema is DBO. We'll put this in quotes. And after that, we just have to say what is going to be your object name, and it's going to be this table. Let's see. This is done. Now let's see if we can query this. Okay, there is an error. Okay, select permission was denied on object table. Okay. Okay, so we are using what is credential. Okay, let's see. What I will do is I will go to the object explorer. Let's try connecting. Okay, maybe I'll copy the password. Say tp to user. Yes. Okay, it says this log failed. Oh, what I will do is maybe give the explicitly, because by default it will try to hit the master DB. So that's why I just gave that. I'll do select star from dev table. This is the problem, right? Did we give that permission? Let me just. Okay. I gave own schema. Okay, that's not the correct one. It's here, because that for a schema, right? My bad. Okay, now you see this is working. Okay, let's try to insert some data. Probably I'll go, let me close this. Here only I created, right? I'll say insert into a table. I'll just say comma Azure into the table values. Inserted. So if you see, this is with my user ID, okay, and it is on DB2. Just to show you, you can see here as well. It is on DB2. We have inserted, and this is the table. If I'm doing the same query, you get this data. Okay, so that is how you can have cross queries, cross database queries in Azure SQL DB. Any questions?
Sir. Yeah. Sir, could you just show the external table, that script which you have created for the external table?
Yeah. I'll show. I'll put this in the chat. Okay. I don't know if it is coming as a whole. Yeah. Okay, you can just take that.
So, sir, suppose if we are referring 5 to 7 tables on the other database, so every time we need to create external table, each external table over here, right?
Yes. So you will have one connection. Okay, I mean, you obviously you will have a single credential, and yeah, you have to have a separate external to refer them. Yes. And I told you this is not going to hold the data. It's like just going to act as a view and get the data. Yeah.
So, like in the link server, we used to execute the stored procedure also. So, is there is any liberty over here where we can just use the polybase feature and execute the stored procedure in the remote database?
Rest all. See, if you just have this object access, it can be inside any stored procedure also. If your question is, if this table is referred inside a stored procedure, can you do it? Can you use it, right? Is that your question or something else?
No. Sir, suppose actually, is there is any way out key where we can execute a stored procedure on the remote database? Suppose we are executing from the DB1 and we want to execute a stored procedure on the DB2. So the from the link server
Okay.
we can do it, but from the polybase feature, is it possible? This one.
So, okay, you're telling you want to execute a procedure on the remote side.
Yes, sir. That's one.
So I think there are other ways to do it. I haven't tried with Polybase, so not sure. Maybe I have to see.
Okay, no issues, sir. No, we can proceed with the purpose.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, fine. I'll take it as no, but yeah, feel free to stop me. Next, what we are going to see is Microsoft Entra ID. Okay. Let's take, so whatever I have shown till now, I mean, account which I have used, this account is an account, which means it has access to all the resource, everything. That's why we don't face any permission problem. Okay. So that's why we were able to create the resources. Okay. If I have to say, you will have your subscription. Okay. Subscription, and within this we will create our resource groups, and we used to create the resources. I'll just say RG will have a resource group, and then within that resource group you will have all your resources. It could be VM or anything. Okay, basically. Now the permission for all these things are maintained in something called Entra ID. Okay, I'll just say Entra ID. Whenever you create your Azure account, okay, you get something called your tenant. Okay, this is something which gets created, and this tenant will have a default directory. Okay, so if you have a default directory, in this case, my default domain is imdown.biz. This is a domain which I have in my name. So this is what I'm using. But you might see is there could be a different domain. Okay, it will be basic thing like this, which maybe I'll show here. I'm just seeing where I can show you that. If I say new user, this is the domain you will see. Okay, basically with your username, then any special characters gets removed, and gmail dot on microsoft.com. But for me, I've just set this as a default directory, and that's why it shows. But you can actually change it. Let me search for, there should be a custom domain. Okay, this is where you can just say what is going to be your default domain. So this was my other domain, and this is the other one which you get by default. Okay, if you are having a normal Azure personal account, this is will be your default directory. So within this only, okay, why I'm telling is if I go to Entra ID, right? Let's go for Entra ID. You will see your Entra ID is mapped with your tenant ID, okay? Which means for your given tenant, you will have a specific default directory and the tenant ID which gets mapped, okay? And within this only, all of your users, groups, whatever you create, it will be within this. And if I go to users, you should be, this is the user which I am using. This is a Microsoft account. That's what using which I've logged in. This is like the admin credential. Okay. From here, I can create a new user, or if I want to invite an external user, I can do it. But this Entra ID, right? There is a licensed version, premium version also. Whatever free one. So I'll not be able to show the full like which you get like self-service password reset. There are a bunch of other things which you get with the premium things. Okay, so whatever is the important things, I'll just cover like what I have listed. It will be users, groups, and app registrations and all. We'll see those things. Okay, I'll just go and create a new user. Okay, I will say this as user A. Okay, and I'll go with the same default domain. In your case, if you don't have domain, you will see this, okay? But nothing much. Okay, I'll just go with this, and this
Sir,
is just
just a
like,
one, yeah, just a one simple doubt. Actually, when you drill down that primary domain part over there, yeah, the second one. So there are the two things are listed down here. One is the IAM-down.base and the other one is your default one. So
correct.
once we create a user, it will be by default, it will come to your that Gmail account. But if you are intentionally selecting, it will come to your this one IAM.biz. So user will be created according to that particular domain, right?
Yeah, that's right. So if I choose this, it will get created in this domain
Okay,
directory.
okay, sir.
Okay. So for now, this is my primary domain. I'm just default domain. I'm just going with this. I'll just name it as user A, and I'll just go with auto-generated password. That's okay. We will just copy this password. I'll put it in a notepad so that we'll use it later. Okay. And then these things are like just self-explanatory. You can fill the name, last name, all those things, which you can provide here. I'm not going to do this role assignment now. I'll just go and create this user. Okay. Now this user is created. Okay, this is the user A we have created. What I will do is I'll open a new tab in incognito mode. Okay, we'll try to log in with this user. It is user A, and I'll just hit next. I'll copy the password, As per the Azure policy, like you have to reset the password after that. So that's why it is giving us this prompt. What I will do is I'll just reset the password. Okay. And it has to actually add another factor of authentication. We have seen that, okay, what I will do is it's not taking this password. I will use last pass online password generator. Okay, let's generate some random password. I will just skip the symbols and we'll go with this. Okay, I'll copy this password and let's use that. We'll just sign in. Okay, so here we have to add a additional layer for this authentication, and for that I'm just using the Microsoft Authenticator app, okay, which you can download it from the Play Store. And I'm just going to do a quick setup. It will give us a QR code. I'm going to scan this QR code from my mobile, and this will register my user. Okay, once this is scanned, I just have to enter the PIN to make sure it is me who has done it, and I have to confirm and sync my device. Okay, from the mobile app, I'm just doing all these things while we are speaking, and that's it. This using this, we are able to sign in. Okay. If at all, if we have the premium license, right, there are other ways using which you can do this authentication, like the multi-factor authentication. In free trial, it is just the authenticator app, but if it is premium thing, right, basically you can have other things. I'll quickly show you. If you go to the security in your Entra ID, here you will have, okay, what kind of things are allowed. Okay, security center, there is a place where it will show you, okay, what all things are allowed. Let me see if I can get that. Not this, not this. Wait, let me go here. Conditional access, identity protection. Okay, it should somewhere here, but yeah, there is a place where you can do all this setup and all. Basically will show you what all kind of authentication mechanisms are available. Like you can have phone, message, all those things you can enable basically. Let me see, it should be here only. Multi-factor authentication, yeah. Let's go. Not this actually. Okay, fine. Authentication methods. Yeah, here. Okay, this is the one. So, for example, in our case, okay, we just have you'll have this Microsoft Authenticator for all users. This is set to yes. Okay. If you have a premium license, you can actually enable other things and all, like voice call. You can actually go and edit it and do it. So if you see, right, phone call is only available for paid subscription. You can go here and enable, and you can also set the condition if this is applicable for all the users or not. All those things you get with premium. Okay. Yeah, this is the one which I thought I'll show you. Now we have our user created. Okay, this is the session from the user A at anddown.biz account, and from here, okay, let's say if I go to all resources, or if I go to resource group, everything is going to throw an error because we haven't given any permission to this account. Okay, what I will do is I'm just switching the tabs. Okay, you can see from the top right on which session we are. So here for user A, like this is throwing an error. Now I'm going to the account where we have admin credentials. Okay. What I will do is let's grant access to our SQL server, which we created in this demo RG. Okay. What I will do is IAM is something which we have seen in our previous session in the past. Like we just touch based when we discussed about managed identities and those topics, but we'll see more on that now. Okay, all the resource will have IAM. Okay, I'm just picking the SQL Server as an example. What I can do is I can go here. If I want to see like what all roles are currently assigned, I'll just go to the role assignment, and this should just take a minute to load. And these are the roles which I currently have. Okay, and this is the owner and contributor. We'll talk about this in a while, but for now, if we have to add a role, I'll just go here, and you have two types of roles. Okay, one is job function role, and another one is privileged administrator role. Here it's more of like you get, I mean, both. Here you will get more granular level, like what all things you can give, but here it's like everything is like packaged. Like we just saw like contributor and owner, right? Owner is like it which has full permission, and the key difference is if you have contributor, you will still have full permission, but you cannot allow or you cannot assign permission to other users. Okay, that is the key difference between this contributor and owner. What I am going to do is I'll just go with the reader permission. Okay, I'm just giving view all resources, but we allow but does not allow you to make any changes. Okay, I'm just going to use this reader permission, and here I can select, okay, to which user to grant the. I'm just searching for the user. It is user A, and I'll just select, and then I'll just say create an assign. Okay, we'll see like once this is done, at least we should be able to access our SQL server. Okay, that is the expectation. Now this is assigned, and let's refresh this page because it will not directly grant the permission immediately. Sometimes it will take time. Okay, and what I will do is I'll just search for SQL Server. Let's see. SQL Server database. No, it's not giving. I'll just say SQL Server. It has Azure SQL, all these things. Let's see if we can access. I'll expand the database. Logical SQL Server. Still, it is not. Okay, let me refresh the page. Let's go to the logical server. Okay. Let's see now if it is working. Okay, still I don't see it. At least I don't see the error. Okay, but let's see. We should see our SQL Server. Okay, I'm going for the database. Let's search for SQL Server. Azure SQL. Okay, now we are able to see. Okay, let me go inside this. What I can do is, let's say, let's see if we are able to access the database. I think we should because it is within the SQL Server, and I'll try to delete this database. Okay, let's see if we are able to do it. Okay, you see, right? It is throwing an error. Fail to delete database. This error code because does not have authorization to perform this action. Okay, so which means we have given only read-only permission. That's why it is not allowing us to do anything. In fact, like if I try to create any other resource, right? Let's say if I go for virtual network, let's quickly see if we are able to create it. You see it's our resource group itself is not coming. Okay, for example, if I search for resource group, it will not show anything. Okay, maybe I'll just say, you see, right? You don't have permission to create resource group under this subscription. It's also giving the subscription ID also. Okay, which means like this user has only read access to our Azure SQL Server. Okay, now what I can do is, let's go here. Permission flow, right? It will go from top to bottom. Okay, as of now, we have given access to a resource which is inside our resource group. In this case, it was a SQL Server. Yeah, we have just given a permission to a specific resource. But what I can do is I can give the permission at subscription level, which means if I give a permission at subscription level, it is going to inherit the permission, like whatever resource groups are inside that subscription, whatever resources you have within that resource group, everything is going to inherit the permission from your subscription. Okay, we'll quickly see that. What I will do is this time I'll go to my subscription and I'll give the permission from here. Okay, I'll go to IAM, and this is with the admin account. Let's go here, add role assignment. Let's wait for this page, and I am going to give contributor access. Okay, this time we're giving more elevated permission just for now, time being. And I'll say selected members. I'll go with user A, and I'll select next, review and assign. Okay, now we have given permission at the subscription level. Okay, which means any resource within that subscription, this resource should be able to access. Okay, that user basically. And if I go here, this is going to show who all has access. Now I'll go navigate to this window. Let's refresh now, and we'll see if we are able to check. Okay, now if you see, we are able to get all these resource groups. Okay, if I go to demo RG, okay, it is still throwing an error, but let's refresh. Okay, it is able to list all the resources, and I'll go to DB2. Let's see if I can delete it. Yes, now delete is working. Okay, now what I am going to do is I'll go to the actual admin account. We are going to create a new user. Okay, I will just say, let's go here. Okay, yeah, let's create it. I'll just say app user. Okay, and let it derive, auto generate. That's fine. I'll just copy this, put it in a notepad. App user. In case if at all we need it, I'll just take it from here. Let's go to the properties. Okay, there is a error. Okay, I have this display name and create. Now I told you, like, using contribute, you cannot assign a person, though access on this subscription level, right? So let's say I'm going to Azure Lab Server, okay, and I wanted to grant permission to the app server to the SQL server. Now you see this option is grayed out. Okay, this is with gray. Though we have given contributor access, this is kind of grayed out. To handle this kind of activities, right? There is a separate permission which you can grant. Okay. Again, I'll go to the resource group only. Okay. For example, let's pick this one, and let's go to the IAM, and let's do add role assignment. There is a role called user access administration. Okay, this lets you to manage user access to Azure resource. So if I just add this role to user A, this user will be able to manage the permissions of other users, which means it can grant permission. And again, like here, there are like a set of conditions which you get, like what user can do. Okay, you can say like allow user to assign all roles highly privileged. Okay, or you can say like allow users to assign a selected role. And the third option is except privileged role. Okay, we can go with this in for our case, and let's review and assign. Okay, once this is done from user one session, okay, user A session, I should be able to grant permission to the app user. Okay, let's quickly see that. I will just refresh this page. Okay, it's still not reflected. Let's see. Okay, now you see, right? Add role assignment. If I go here, now I can add whatever permission I want to grant for the app user, and I should be able to do it. For example, let's say app user, and this will come. I should be able to grant the permission. So this is on the user part. Okay, like in SQL Server or any Active Directory and all, right? You have a concept called groups. Okay, because individually managing permissions is not a good idea. That's why there is a concept called group, where you can create a group and app user group. You can put all the users, whoever needs a set of uh, permissions. You can basically like put them in a group and assign permissions to that specific groups. Okay, let's see. We have created the groups now. Okay, total groups. Let's go to the app user and members. We can just add members here. I can say I want to add this app user. I'll just select and done. This user will be added here. And whenever you are granting any permission, you can grant permission to the group. So like it's the same process. Instead of selecting the user, you will just look for this group, and then you will be adding the permission for that group. And whoever is part of this group will by default get those permissions. Okay, so that is the concept about group. The next one. Okay, any questions? No. You guys are following? Can you guys hear me? Okay. I thought I lost you all. Okay, so okay, we'll take okay, there is a question. Can we log in with that user into SQL? Yes, I'm going to show that, Zainkan. Yeah, we'll come to that. I'll show you. Okay. Next one. Okay. So these things are for portal. Okay, but in real time, you will have scenarios where your application has to talk to some resources in your Azure. Okay? Or you will have something like a service. Okay, basically these users, whatever we have created, it is for a human being to just log in and access, right? But you can have some certain applications which has to interact. So for that, there is something called a service principal which you create, and using that you will be, okay. One example, you can basically interact with Azure from CLI using AZ commands. Okay. So there are different ways using which you can log in. One is like I can log in. It will take me through the browser and it will log in. But let's let's say from programmatical way, I cannot type AZ login and wait for browser and do, right? So for applications to authorize and take access to certain resources, you have something called the service principal, which you can basically do a app registration. Okay. So I'll quickly show you like how I came there. We are into Microsoft Entra ID, and here you have something called app registration. Okay. Here you can basically do a new registration. Okay. I'll say Azure demo as the app registration name, and I'll just hit on register. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I want to connect to my Azure account, but I don't want to give any, I mean, I cannot log into the browser and do anything. Programmatically, I want to access. Okay, that's what we are going to achieve. Now our app is registered, and within this, there are like whole bunch of different options, which is more on security related things. But what I wanted to show you here is there is something called certificate and secrets. Okay. I can go here and I can generate a new secret. Okay. Let's say CLI access. I'll just type a CLI access, and you can also set the retention period. Okay. In real time, you will have a retention period set according to whatever policy your company is having. And you can also set custom if you don't want any of these things. I'll go with 180 days and I'll hit save. So here you have two things. Okay. Value of your secret, and there is a secret ID. Okay. Let's copy this. I'll just put it in the notepad. I'll say value and put this and the secret ID. I'm just keeping it handy and done. So now what we will do is for us to authenticate, will also need this client ID. Okay, this is your app registration client ID. I'll just say client ID. Let's put this here. And you will need your tenant ID also. Let me take that also. Now, with all these details, right, what I can do is I will go here. I'll just say AZ login. And your command will be something like this. Okay, I'll put it in notepad here. It will be AZ login, and you'll say service principal. Okay, and your client ID. Okay, the first one is going to be client ID, or I'll just put like this so that you can understand what details we are supplying. Okay, and then you will see your value of your secret. Okay, I'll say secret value. Okay, then you will apply your tenant details. Okay, your tenant ID basically. Here it's going to be tenant ID. You don't have to remember this. Okay, I can just search for AZCLI authentication. There are like different ways of authenticating. I think for Terraform also, like you will one of this option using this client and secret. Okay, if I just show you, this will take us to the Microsoft documentation. Actually, see. Okay. I just want to show you service principal, because there is a page where all these things are already documented. Okay, you see, right? Username, password, tenant ID. Okay, this is what we are supplying basically. Okay, is the app ID, client secret, tenant ID. This is what I have written. Client ID is your this thing, application ID. Let me just put this here. and secret value, let's take it from here. So I'm not, I mean, since we are doing this demo, I'm just putting it here, but in real time, like this will be again encrypted, or you can put this in your environment variables and load it. There are like different options which are available. But let's put it here. And as of now, if I do AZ account show, I'll be able to show anything because we are connected. Okay. Wait, I wrote AZ login and those things, but it is AZ account. So you see, it's running AZ login. Now we'll run this command. Okay. Let's see. Okay, no subscription found for this. Okay. Let's see which tenant ID I copied. Let's go to the overview. This is the tenant ID. Okay, and it says there is no subscription found for this. Okay, that's principal ID. Let me copy it again. Let's see, this is the client ID, right? Okay. Or what I will do is, let me go to the documentation only. Let's copy this. We'll put the values here only, because I should not make any typo. AZ login, I can just say -u, that's okay. Let's copy this ID and password. This one, and this is our tenant ID, right? Let's see. This no subscription found for this. Okay. Let's see. This is on what? Okay, wait. This is our tenant ID. What am I giving? This is what, right? And our client ID is this. This is also correct. Let me go and just generate a new secret, maybe. Just name it as demo. Okay, wait. I didn't pass the secret ID, right? Which one did I pick? Let's see what I have in the other one. I'll just quickly, what I will do is, I had another registration which I did. Okay, let's quickly see. This is with this PDS, right? Let me just check if this is the one. Yeah, this is the different value. Let's go here. We'll copy this. Let's go here. Okay. And this ID, let me copy again. Okay, rest all is fine, I guess. Let's see. Okay, maybe let me, what I will do is reopen, see if this works. It seems it's not able to find the subscription. Okay, what I will do is, let's use the other one. Okay, which is this one, and this time, let me go here. We will replace all the credentials. Maybe let it be WordWrap so that I don't have to scroll. So first one is the service principal, and we have to give the app ID, right? I'll just use this app. Okay. Okay. Now I think I get it. What I did mistake. So we have registered this. Okay, we'll stick with this only. Okay. I think I just realized I missed one thing. So we have registered the app, but we haven't given any permission, right? So what I will do is, I think that is what it was complaining. There was no subscription or nothing mapped. I'll go to this dev. Let's go to the IAM, and we should be able to see the app which was created. Okay. And I should map that permission. Okay. What I will do is I'll give contributor access. That was a very silly mistake, actually. Let's say I'll go to the portal. Let's pick that name, whatever we have registered. Entra ID, app registration, all application, Azure demo. Okay, this is the application. Now let's assign. This done. Let's see. Okay, it's still throwing an error. Let's just wait for a minute, and or what I will do is let me copy this. Just open a new window. Okay, I think we'll try with the other one. At least I just want to show this is working. Just give me a minute. Let's try using this one. I'll say let's pick this. Okay, that's the app ID, and the secret is something we'll generate. I'll go here, add temp. I'll just name something, and let's copy this. Paste. This is done. I'll just remove this. Okay, I think I don't know why that didn't work, but yeah. So now this says, okay, we are connected to this tenant. Okay, if I do AZ account show, it should list the subscription ID and all those details. Okay, and now I can do any of the AZ CLI command and talk to Azure. Okay, but in from the application standpoint, you will need similar details, and using that, your connection will be authenticated, and that's how they do. Okay, again, like you can set all these things. For example, in PowerShell, you can supply this as a credential, and you can also set this in environment variable and other things. Okay, now one thing which I wanted to show you is I told you like the SQL Server, how you can connect with the this Entra ID, right? What we will do is probably I'll go to this Entra ID. I'll just take another 5 more minutes. It's okay, right? I know it's already late, but uh, I hope it is okay. Or you think we should do it in a separate session?
It's okay.
Okay, fine. I'll quickly wrap it. Okay. Let's go to Entra ID and let's go to users. Let's say we want to grant permission to this user. Okay. I think this is the password which we gave. What I can do is, let's go to SQL Server, and this is the server which we were using. Let me just cross check. Not this. Check Explorer. Yeah, this is the server. Okay. Let's go and not this. Where is the okay Entra ID? What I will say is support. Okay, in order to enable SP set. Wait. Admin. Okay, else set admin. Okay. For us to use Entra ID, there should be an admin. Okay, which I am going to say it's going to be what? This user one. Okay, we'll just say user one, which is okay. Now this is the, we'll say support. Okay, and let's save. Okay, think, let it finish. It's very small thing, but I'll tell you what is different. This finish. Okay, done. Now what I can do is, let's go here. I will choose enter password. Let's give this username and take the password. I'll just say DB1 because DB2 we deleted. Let's hit connect. Invalid username or password. Okay. What we will do is, let's reset the password for that user. Okay. I don't know if we changed it later. User one. Let's go here. I'll say reset password, and probably we'll use this. Okay, it's going to give us again a temporary password. Again, I have to do a reset. Okay, let's do it. We'll say sign out. Again, sign in. Okay, this is for user A is what we have given, right? Okay. So I think then this should be user A password, right? What we will do is, let's not reset the password here. Let's go to SQL Server. This server, we will set the admin to user A. Okay, and now copy this and take this password. Okay, now we are into Azure SQL DB using the Entra ID, which we created. Okay, which you can see here. Now the main thing which you should know is, if you are creating any user right, or any login, okay, for Entra. Let's say this is for the admin, which we give from the portal, but rest all you can do it from the T-SQL. Only difference is create. You have to create an external login basically, okay. So which will look something like create user. I'll say, for example, what we will do is I'll go to the Entra ID. Let's say I'll pick the app user, for example, okay. From external provider. So you have to have this syntax if you want to add additional AD group or your users. If you want to grant access, this is how your syntax is going to be. And then rest all database level permissions, you can manage it like how you regularly, I mean, you used to do it, right? So you can just go and grant TB level permissions and all. And yeah, that's how you basically do it. Okay, I think that's all I had. Maybe I'll stop the recording and